Today we're going to be laying an accumulator for the Betway Club. This is a £10 free bet when you place a £25 accumulator, or rather £25 worth of football multiples. So the multiple needs to be a treble or more, but really we can do anything more than that. And the best way to do that is to pick selections with odds between 1.2 and 1.4. Now I'm going to explain how to lay sequentially in a little while, but the first thing to note is that we should really be picking events with really strong favourites. So ideally selections between odds of 1.2 and 1.4. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on the odds matcher and I'm going to look for matches that have really strong favourites so I can start working on this multiple bet. And I'm going to use markets this time, so I'm going to unselect Betfair. Let's do this side first. So football match odds, Betway, markets, and the other thing to note is that the minimum odds for the aggregate odds for the accumulator needs to be at least 3. So anything more than 3 is probably not going to be worth your time because you need to pick at least 3 selections. So really, anything between 1 and 2 should be alright. You're looking for about 3 selections with odds of about 1.5. So you know what? Actually, I'm gonna bet on some Premier League selections because I'm gonna be watching the football quite soon, and we have Arsenal v Hull, which is in 9 minutes. Man United v Watford at 3 o'clock. Burnley are playing Chelsea tomorrow at 1:30. And we've got Bournemouth versus Man City on Monday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type these out on the spreadsheet here and get on this really quickly. So this is a £25 bet, and we're going to change the multiple type to 4-fold. So the way I like to do this is I like to write the day first and then the time of the kickoff, followed by the team I'm betting on and then the actual event name. So today is Saturday, 11th of Feb, 12:30 p.m. I think. 12:30 p.m. dash Arsenal v Hull. The next one I'm going to do is Man United versus Watford. So Saturday, 11th of February at 3 o'clock. Man United. And the one after that is the match tomorrow between Burnley and Chelsea. So that's Sunday, 12th of February at 1:30 p.m. dash Chelsea. Burnley versus Chelsea. And then I'm going to do, which was it? Bournemouth versus Man City. So this is actually going to be a 4-fold accumulator. But in order to qualify for the free bet, you only need to do a treble or more. The only reason I'm doing a 4-fold is because I don't think these 3 odds are going to tally up to 3 because they're all quite short. So Monday, 13th of February, I think it was 8 o'clock. Man City, and they were away, weren't they? Away to Bournemouth. Let's just get these odds out. So the odds for Arsenal are 1.3. On some markets, they're 1.33. On the Man United, it's 1.25 on some markets. Sorry, 1.25 on Betway, and 1.29 on some markets. Oops, sorry, 1.29. Can't type today. Burnley versus Chelsea, 1.4, 1.45. And then Bournemouth versus Man City, which is 1.44. And then it's 1.49 on some markets. Whew. okay, so we see here that whatever happens, I'm going to lose £3.40. Okay, and this is how much you need to lay off on an Arsenal win. If Arsenal do win, then I need to lay off that amount on a Man United win. If Man United beat Watford, I'm going to have to lay off this amount on a Chelsea win. And if Chelsea beat Burnley, I'm going to have to lay off this much on a Man City win. Now, if Arsenal don't beat Hull today, then the accumulator's done and the money is going to go straight into my Smarkets account and I'm going to win this much on Smarkets, which is, well, it's not quite 340, but after commission it will be. So this is how much I went on Smarkets, and that's how much I'm going to lose on Betway because it's a £25 accumulator. So I'm going to use this. Oh, by the way, this box you would only really use if there's like a profit boost or something like that. So say if for whatever reason there was a price boost and I got all of these selections for 3.5, then that would override this box, and then it would just take it as if the combined odds for all those are 3.5, and then it'll tell me how much to lay off accordingly for each selection given these lay odds. Okay, so and this box is if I lay something a little bit different. So say for whatever reason I lay 23 quid instead of 22 because I don't know how to do that, but let's just say I did. Then what we see here is that all of a sudden I'm going to lose £3.72, whereas if I lay off what I should do, then I'm going to lose £3.40. So it's really important to lay off basically what you can as suggested on the spreadsheet. So the first thing to do now is to actually place this accumulator and hope that I'm getting these odds here. So I'm going to go on the Betway website now and do this. By the way, don't forget to opt in here, right? You need to type in your username and then opt in. Go on Betway. I need to do this really quickly because we've only got 3 minutes until kickoff. So Premier League. Oh, my mouse is being weird. So we've got Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, and Man City. So I'm going to do a £25 bet here. And that's returning 80.50. And these look like the odds I wrote on the spreadsheet. Yeah, they are. So that's all good. I can worry about the markets odds in a second. I'm just going to make sure these are correct. So fourfold multiple bet of £25. It's going to return 82.15 if all these selections come through. Please bet. Now, let's wait for this to go through. Yeah, it's done. Now I need to deposit into Smarkets, and the way to figure out how much I need to deposit is to work out my okay, so worst case scenario, I'm going to lose the liability from that bet, the liability of that bet, the liability from that bet, and the liability from that bet, i.e. if all the selections win and the accumulator pulls through. So that's going to be the sum of these 4 columns here, which is going to be 60 quid. And okay, so I'm just going to deposit 70 quid because that should definitely cover me. So deposit, scroll 70. Okay, so I'm on Smarkets and now I need to go on the Arsenal Hull game. And the first thing to do is to lay off, oh, the odds are 1.32 now, that's good. So I'm going to need to lay 22.21 at 1.32, okay, which is just as good because it's 1 minute before kickoff. So that's 22.21, sorry, at 1.32. Okay, so I've placed my first lay bet with Smarkets, and this could be it if Arsenal don't win. So let me just explain the spreadsheet real quick. I talked about this box. Yeah, so if I don't know, the odds change or something like that, and you end up laying something a little bit different, you need to say how much you lay in this L column here, and and that will update how much you'll be losing in this AM column here. You might think it should change these other lay stake figures here, but it actually wouldn't, because let's say you lay too much and Arsenal win today, then really, if the lay bet wins, sorry, if Arsenal win, then the lay bet's going to lose, and you just lost more money than you need to, and there's nothing really you can do about the other matches. The idea is just to minimize your losses, but not just minimize them, keep them equal, so that you're basically going to lose the same amount whatever happens. Okay, and I've explained this box, and yeah, these are the lay stakes. This is how much you'll be winning on markets if the lay bet wins, i.e., if one of these legs lets you down, and this is your liability for each bet. Um, and that's basically how to use a spreadsheet. This is all a bit complicated, and this basically shows you what will happen for every outcome, and you can see for whatever happens here, I'm going to lose £3.23. You can ignore these rows here, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so I'm gonna watch the Arsenal versus Hull match, and I'll be back after that finishes to see what happens. Then, if need be, I'm gonna place a lay bet on the Man United game. Oh, before I go, the other thing to note is that if you are gonna lay sequentially, you need to make sure that all the matches are the first one finish. Yeah, the first one will finish before the next one starts, and you need to make sure you've got enough time to assess the outcome and make sure you place the right lay stake on the selection. So to be honest, I probably haven't. It's probably not a good idea that two of my selections are basically the Arsenal match is going to finish at around 2:30 maybe, and the United are going to start playing at 3 o'clock. So that only really leaves me half an hour. I should really be leaving more time than that, but I've done this video in a bit of a rush. So yeah, let's let's see what happens, and I'll be back here pretty soon. Bye for now. Hi again. So the Arsenal versus Hull match is finished, and Arsenal won, which means I'm going to have to lay off the second selection in this fourfold accumulator, and that was a Man United win in the Man United versus Watford match. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on to markets and look at the lay odds for Man United win and update them in this box here. And then I'm going to place a lay bet with backers stake of this amount. So just to recap, I've placed a fourfold accumulator with betway with odds of these amounts, and I have placed a lay bet on the first selection with a backer stake of this amount, which lost. That had a liability of that amount. I deposited 70 quid into markets, so my account balance is now this much. So I'm going to go on the Man United versus Watford game, and we see the lay odds for Man United win are 1.29. So I think that's what I had anyway. So I'm going to place a lay bet of 29.46. We're quite close to kickoff, so the odds might fluctuate a lot. Okay, that lay bet has been placed. Yeah, you see the odds have jumped already. And okay then, I'm going to come back and wait for this match to finish, and then if Man United win that one, I'll place a lay bet for the next leg. Bye for now. Okay, so the second match has finished and Man United won, unfortunately. So just to recap on what I did earlier, I placed a lay bet on a Man United win in the Man United versus Watford match at odds of 1.29 with a stake of 29.46, and that had a liability of 8.54. And as you can see here, I've lost £8.54. So the next thing to do is to place a lay bet on the third leg, which is, I'm sure you're getting the hang of this by now, a Chelsea win on the Burnley versus Chelsea match. So hopefully the odds shouldn't be going all over the place, because this match isn't until tomorrow, and the odds are 1.46. So I need to update that here. I need to place a lay bet of stake 37.92. Okay, so I'm going to wait until that match finishes, and I'll see you shortly. Hi, so the last bet was on a Chelsea win in the Burnley versus Chelsea match, and Chelsea didn't win that match, which means the lay bet won on some markets. So in terms of laying off the accumulator, I'm done now. The lay bet won on some markets, so I've recouped all of my losses and no further action needs to be taken. If you remember, actually, the odds changed from 1.45 to 1.46 for the Chelsea match, which means these lay stakes here would have also changed. So in order for all of these figures to be correct, I'm going to have to update these odds right here. So if we have a look on this markets account, I've already had this open. You remember that the lay stake from the Arsenal versus Hull match was 22.21. So I'm going to write that here in the override lay column. And for the Man United versus Watford match, the lay stake was 29.46. So we see here that these are as they were before, and this is how much I've lost on, well, these two actually, how much I've lost on some markets. It's here that from the Arsenal versus Hull match, I lost 7.11, and then from the Man United versus Watford match, I lost 8.54, and then from the Burnley versus Chelsea match, I won 37.16, which is this figure here. So overall, this happened. So I've lost £3.49 from laying a £25 accumulator, which isn't that great, to be honest. I'm sure you'll find better matches on the odds matcher, but I'm just showing you here as an example. So if you remember, I deposited £70 into some markets, and now I have 91.51, as you can see here. So I've won £21.51 on some markets, and I've lost £25 on betway, if we can find that here. So if you go on my bets and then settle bets, we'll see here that this £25 fourfold accumulator has settled as a lost bet. So just to recap on laying accumulators, I only left myself maybe half an hour gap between these two matches, and then a day gap. Well, a day between these two matches, and then there was another day between this match and the last leg. But really, you should leave yourself about, I would say, 3 or 4 hours between each leg. So what I did between the first and second leg wasn't maybe the best of ideas, but I just did to show as an example. And remember, if the odds change here, then the lay stakes will change here, and this will change the override. Sorry, if the lay odds change, then this will change the calculated lay stakes for the earlier legs, and it's in this case where you'd use the override lay column. So you can see how much you should expect to be losing on this AM column here. So yeah, that's the accumulator matched and settled now. So the next thing to do will be to place the free bet.